the alarm was still going off. I'm shaking. I'm crying. I walked out the back door. I waited for them to leave because I didn't want them to see me like that.
Yeah.
So I walked out the back door and I crouched down against the side wall and I looked up and I saw the principal running from the back building, running towards my classroom. So he already knew what was, I'm getting chills. He already knew what was happening. He was coming to get me.
Hey, what's going on? This is Grwn Talk. If we haven't met before, my name is Andrew Tan, and this is my attempt to learn how to adult so that I can be the best father and man for my 1-year-old son. I have no idea what I'm doing, so every week I'm going to have interesting and amazing conversations with some of my closest friends and some people that I've never even met. And my goal is, with every conversation, there's one piece of wisdom, one nugget for Elijah to learn from. This episode is very special to me, not only because it's the first episode since moving into the new house, but also because it's Veterans Day, and I am a proud U.S. Army veteran, and so is my guest. His name is Julio Petersen, aka Mr. Pete of Mr. Pete's Playhouse. Children of all ages are learning through laughter, having fun, singing, dancing, and he's tackling some real issues. On this episode, we talk about how to be creative, finding that creativity in you, fear of success, and we actually open up a lot about our own Army journeys and dealing with PTSD now that we're out. I hope that you really get something out of this, and Elijah, when you watch this years from now, I hope the stories about the PTSD are something that give light and color into our own relationship as you become a young man. If you like it, please like, share, subscribe, comment, all the things on social media because it really does help and keep me motivated to do this for my son. Without further ado, here is Julio Petersen.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, buddy?
Hi. It is great to be here.
I'm so happy to talk to you right now. So I'll do an intro later on, kind of separate and everything, but I just want everyone to know this is the first time that we are actually in person talking and meeting. Yeah. And I'm very excited. I'm very thankful for it. You're actually the first interview I've done since really COVID hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, for anyone who doesn't know, right, after the intro, you by Julio, is my neighbor. Or was my neighbor.
Was your neighbor. Will always be your neighbor.
Yeah, in the old neighborhood. And, we were on the Facebook group for the neighborhood. And I just saw you doing some really amazing things, creative things, things I want to talk about. But why don't you kind of explain what you're trying to do, what you're trying to create right now, and why?
Okay. Well, my name is Julio, Mr. Pete.
That's right.
Mr. Pete. And so I have a YouTube channel called Mr. Pete's Playhouse.
Yes, go subscribe.
And go subscribe. Yes. And so me and my partner, his name is Kurt Rojas. He is the guy that does all of the graphics and visuals for Mr. Pete's Playhouse. So we came together and during the COVID, when COVID first started, we came together and I started it off first as just like I wanted to create something for my students to teach them virtually because when COVID first hit, we didn't really know what we're going to do.
Yes.
We didn't really have any guidance yet at the time. And so everybody was like scrambling, trying to figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to teach their students. And for me, being a drama teacher, I teach the whole school. So I needed to find a way to reach pre-K all the way up to 5th grade students.
That's a lot of kids. How many kids is that, give or take?
On a normal circumstance, we're about 600 to 700 kids. Normal. But now, because of virtual and COVID and all that stuff, it's like in half.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of kids have either left or are at home or...
Can't even imagine as a kid.
It's rough. It's rough. And so I went to school one day and I was volunteering to pass out food, groceries, and books and stuff to the kids.
Awesome.
That's what I do. And then one of the first grade teachers, we were just having a conversation, and she was like, I was asking her, like, I don't know how to reach the kids. Like, what do I do? And she just gave some advice. She was like, why don't you just record your lessons? And I said, no.
Wait, so you didn't do this before?
No.
That's so surprised me. I mean, to cut you off, but it surprised me because the production value that you guys have in the beginning, I mean, I could tell there's a little bit of piecemealing together.
Yeah.
But even in a short period of time, I mean, very well done.
Thank
Audio's, and
Yeah.
your graphics guy, what's his name again?
Kirk Rojas.
Kirk is amazing.
Yes, he is. Yes.
He's probably turned these out quick, right?
Yes. Well, actually, for both of us, this is the first time both of us have been doing anything like this. Yes. Yes. So we are pretty much
so good at it.
Thank you. We pretty much like feed off of each other. We're learning together. I think that's a great thing about our partnership. Is like he's from the Virgin Islands as well. So we have that connection. And he is the graphics person for my theater company as well.
Okay.
He does all the graphics and all the media stuff for the theater company. But Mr. Pete's Playhouse actually creating an episode with all of that stuff, like that was the first time for him. So when he first started off, it took him literally 7-8 hours to do one episode.
Oh that's how I feel now.
Yeah, right. I mean, and the same for me. It took hours and hours, and I still do, but I'm better at it.
Yeah.
But now he returns them in like 3-4 hours. He gets it. So he's cut his time in half just in these short few months. I guess they say practice makes perfect. Like we are just every episode we're trying something new and getting better at it and seeing what works and don't work and getting suggestions and recommendations from people. And literally every episode is trial and error.
Every episode I see, and I watch almost all of them. I see right now. I do. And that's fact, right? But I will say every episode I could tell it's not just increments of improvement. Mm-hmm. Like these are
vast improvements.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Noticeable improvements.
Well, that is definitely encouraging. Thank you.
So, but you guys had the theater coming before, right? So you're used to being on camera or in front of people.
Yes. So the theater company was started in 2014.
Okay.
And I've been a theater performer, musician person since high school. So, this is me. I've always been a performer. And of course, joining the military, that definitely gave me more experience being in the soldier show. And then after are we going there yet? Or
let's keep recapping and I'll jump back in that one.
Okay. So after that, I came to Houston and I went to TSU to study vocal performance.
Okay.
And I saw that there was not a lot of opportunities for my colleagues and classmates to perform outside of the school.
Oh, really?
And so we went to audition for, I won't say the name of the show, but we went to audition for a show, and it was 2 instances actually, and I got in.
Yeah.
But my colleagues or classmates, friends, they did not.
Okay.
And they were just as talented or even better than the people that did get in. So I took that as, okay, I needed to find a way to give them that opportunity to perform as well. Because I had just came off, a tour and all that stuff. So I'm used to that. But for them being in college, they didn't have that experience yet.
Right.
And I knew that I had the experience and I was in a position where I could have maybe provided a little bit of that for them, and eventually it worked out. And so that's how the company was created out of that.
When was that?
That was 2014.
So you have a little bit of time now.
Yeah, that was 2014. Amazing. Since then, we have pushed out, we're at number 6 main stage productions.
Really?
Since then, yes.
Will you let me know next time?
I will, as soon as COVID is over. As soon as that is over.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I like that you already brought it up because it's a great segue.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the reasons why I was so attracted and connected to you was not just your work with children and being creative. Because besides doing all that great work for the kids, right? I, as a creative, understand what it takes to get that production going, right? And for you to do it, I mean, how many episodes are you dropping a week?
A week?
Now?
Well, now we do it weekly.
Okay.
We do it weekly, but we try to record like 2 episodes a week.
That's
just so that we can push it out weekly.
Yeah.
So right now we're 2 weeks ahead, and I have to actually start recording. I'm behind. I'm not even gonna lie because of work.
Yeah.
But what we have 2 more episodes to record until the season finale.
Yeah.
Which we're gonna do like a holiday episode, and just to cut it off right there.
Yeah.
But we're gonna continue recording for the next season. So whenever that starts up, we'll already have some episodes already finished.
Your episodes are always so timely. Too.
That's what we strive for.
Like really good. So how far in advance did you record though? Because you had stuff about, the holidays coming up.
Yeah.
You had stuff about.
We did
everything.
Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yeah, all of it. And I
Yeah.
felt like it was within the same week when it happens. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys' planning was really good.
So before this new look that we have, when we first started off, like I would record an episode that week.
Yeah.
And then I will be like, okay, what's something significant that's coming up in the following week? Let me think about it. And then literally it would be like 2-3 days before, and I'll be like, oh, let me just do this. like the Mother's Day one, it was literally like, when Mother's Day fell on like that Sunday or that Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and literally that Wednesday before, I was like, I should do a Mother's Day episode. And so I recorded the Mother's Day episode. And so it was like that in the beginning. Now we're getting better at foreseeing or foreshadowing what's coming up.
Yeah.
And trying to record ahead of time. Like the Hispanic Heritage Month one, we recorded that like 3 weeks before.
That's good.
Yeah.
I wish I was
Hispanic
that good right now.
Yeah. And then the episode on Monday, Veterans Day episode, that's been done 3 weeks ago.
For
that's
real?
been done. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's been done.
So this is like, so what I was saying was, besides production and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is I found out that you were a veteran too.
Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
so I just felt such a kinship to you automatically.
Yes.
One, we're both minorities, both in the Army.
Yeah.
Not the Air Force.
Not the Air Force.
Not the Air Force.
No.
Um,
Although when I was recording that Veterans Day episode, I was like, the Air Force song is nice.
So truth time. When I was 18, I picked up a scholarship, and it was into the Army first.
It was the Air Force.
Air Force picked me up my first year.
Oh, wow.
It did. Yeah, don't be disappointed in me.
I'm not. I actually, honestly, like, I kind of wanted to go to the Air Force.
If I can go back and I wasn't so gung-ho on doing the things I wanted to do when I was 18, 19,
Yeah.
it might have been nice.
It
They have the
would've
best
been.
post, the best food.
Exactly.
The best, not the best song, but it's a good song.
It's a good, it's, you was Air Force. I was like, oh, snap. Because I literally learned, I'm not even going to
learned
lie
them
to
all?
you. I learned all of them 5 minutes before recording them.
That's really good.
Because what happened was he's in the National Guard back home.
Okay.
Although he lives here in Houston,
Mhm.
he's still in the National Guard back home. So he had to travel for AT.
Oh,
And
okay.
he's been home for the last 2-3 weeks actually. And so he was like, well, back home, he can't travel with all his software and stuff. So he's like, I need you to record
Yeah.
all the episodes that we're gonna put out while I'm home
Right.
before I get home.
Yeah.
And so literally we had 2 episodes already completed. No, we had 1 completed, and I had to record 2 more.
Oh, wow.
And so I had texted him, and it was a Thursday night after I just finished with leg day. So I'm exhausted.
You don't gotta
And-
stand to sing.
No, but I work kind of outside, so
Okay.
at the park
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
So I have a trainer. He makes me run hills on leg day.
Oh,
so
okay.
after that, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I texted Kirk, and I'm like, well, when is the last day to send you this episode? And he was like, I leave tomorrow. So I need it by tonight.
That's so funny.
I was so, can I say the P word?
Go ahead.
I was so mad, like I literally was. But that's our relationship, whatever.
Yeah.
So I came home and I went upstairs and I had to try to figure out how to put this episode, like I did a Memorial Day episode, so I couldn't really it's kind of the same material.
It's very close.
Very patriotic. So
Yeah.
what do I do
And as a
that's
kid,
different?
it's hard to tell the difference.
Exactly. So
Right.
what do I do that's different? So I decided, okay, I'm gonna just make this music heavy.
Okay.
So I said, I'll just learn all the songs and then just talk about each branch.
That's nice.
So I researched a little bit about each branch and I had to learn each song that night. That night. So I didn't go
no cue cards, no karaoke, no
cue
nothing.
cards, no karaoke. Well, I used karaoke tracks, but
Okay.
and so the words were there for the most part, but I still had to learn the melody and all that stuff. You know, I only know the Army song, and I'm familiar with the Air Force song, but I've never heard the Navy song before.
Who's that?
The Navy song? I don't even know how it goes. I don't remember how it goes. But yeah. So
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
So that drops Monday?
That drops Monday, yes.
I'm excited.
That drops Monday.
I'm excited to see that.
It's not as I would say intricate as the other episodes.
That's okay.
But it's an episode.
Yeah.
And we put it out and it's something, and I hope people appreciate it.
No, we will.
Because I'm not even gonna lie to you, when he sent that episode back to me, I literally had tears in my eyes.
Really?
Yes, and I told him, and I'm not even lying.
Okay.
I literally texted him and I said, I don't know if I'm crying because the episode is so great,
Yeah.
or I'm crying because of how much work and how exhausted we both were to complete it and to see it completed.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, it's just like it's done, and it's like, I don't know if it was a passion cry or what it was, but
Both.
it was just emotional when I got it back from him. I was like,
Yeah.
oh. So we put a lot of heart and effort and
I love that.
passion into it.
Singing those songs, did it make you miss wearing your uniform?
Yes,
It did?
it did.
So one of the reasons why I got back in as a reservist is because my wife loves me in my uniform.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. yeah. But why did you join? I mean, you said you were 18.
I
very
was
young, fresh off
very
island.
young. I was in the Virgin Islands, St. Croix, and I went to the University of the Virgin Islands for one semester.
Okay.
I was studying music education,
Oh.
but I wasn't happy there. I was on St. Thomas for UVI and St. Thomas, and it just and that's always been me. Something just didn't feel right. Like I felt like I didn't belong there.
What do you mean?
At all.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. So although we are one Virgin Island, St. Croix is completely different from St.
I
Thomas.
didn't know that.
Yes.
What do you mean by different?
By
Like-
comparison, I would say St. Croix would be like not the city, but like San Antonio, as far as like more spread out, suburban, cultural,
Yeah.
very heavy on culture and music and all of that
yeah.
stuff. And I would say St. Thomas is more like, I don't know. So I wouldn't say Houston, because Houston is very cultural too, but St. Thomas is they're tourist heavy.
Okay.
And so it is a smaller island. There's a lot more people. There's a lot more to do, but I wasn't used to that as a
Yes.
teenager. I'm used to the relaxed vibe, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
And
I
so
got you.
it was completely different for me. And maybe that's something that I struggle with now, where I just can't be around too much heaviness going on.
Do you like being in the burbs now?
I love it.
I do too.
I love it. Yeah.
I do too.
I don't even like all this that's building up. Like,
I got to, so we were one of the first houses out here. We were actually the first or second one to move into this whole block.
oh wow.
Amazing.
Exactly.
At night,
yeah.
was let the dogs go for a little bit.
Yeah, and
Imagine-
that's how we were in the old neighborhood.
Were you?
We were like the fourth or fifth house.
Oh, really?
we
I was one of
built.
the last ones.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But I still love like just
I love our little
the
neighborhood,
laid back.
I love our little neighborhood over there.
Yes, absolutely.
The second day we were there, the kids on both sides of me were playing outside.
Yeah,
Made me so happy.
they're still there.
Yeah. And then, we had our son. I was like, I can't wait for him to grow up playing outside.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah, and so I
So you left.
left St. Thomas, and I actually went to the recruiting station there. Yeah, I needed to find a way out, and
Was that your way out then?
That was my way out.
I didn't know that.
That
Okay.
was my way out. I had no idea what I was doing, but I followed a friend. He was joining the army,
Best way.
and I said okay. And I went to the. Actually, I'm lying. I just went to the recruiting station with him. I had no intentions of going to the military.
Oh, that's how good they are.
I just went there, and so the recruiter, talks to me, asks me about my life, and he knew I was a performer at home. He knew I had just won Mr. St. Croix.
That's awesome.
So I just won. So, you know, all of this stuff. So he pushed Operation Rising Star, which is Military Idol. He pushed that.
I've never
showed.
heard of that.
Really?
Well,
but
I
I won it.
I mean, I know what it is.
Yeah.
But I've never heard that name for it.
Yeah, it was called Operation Rising Star.
I had no idea.
Yes.
So you got that fresh in your contract?
No. He promised all of that stuff to me. He promised the Soldier Show.
He'll do that.
Right, of course. But you know, when I joined and I got in, it was nothing. I didn't even get a bonus. I ain't got nothing.
What?
Nothing.
So did you know you were going to go into 42 series?
I knew that. Yes.
Okay.
Because it was either outside of performing, I loved office work. Like when I was in high school, I did dual, so I did high school and vocational school at the same time, and so I had a business certificate. That's awesome. I was in the business field as well.
Yeah.
So he told me about 42 Alpha Human Resources, and so I went into that. But everything in my mind was Soldier Show, Operation Rising Star, Army Band.
So how did you get into it?
Okay, so
because I don't even know. I'm gonna cut you off here. I didn't even know. I knew that the show existed. Mm-hmm. I've traveled around enough to see it, and I've seen them in different countries, and like it's awesome. Yes. Everything they do.
Yes.
And I've met a couple people in it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never known how do you actually get in it.
Yeah.
Do you get audition?
Yes.
What is that process like?
Okay, so in 2007, I joined the Army, got out of basic training and everything. In 2008, I was at Fort Leonard Wood, and they had auditions for Military Idol. So each installation has their own audition ran by the MWR.
I had no idea.
Yes. Okay. So I auditioned, I competed, and then I won that competition. And so when you win, you automatically. So two things happen when you win. When you win, you go to the national Operation Rising Star competition, and also it's like something dings at Army Entertainment, which they're not there anymore, but something goes in their system, and they reach out to you. So they reached out to me. Are you interested in auditioning? Blah blah blah. So I submitted my audition packet with all my videos from Operation Rising Star. And of course, you have to get released. You have to get a release letter by your command.
Is it hard to get released?
It depends.
Well, that's my question, right? Is it political? Like you gotta be like, hey, sir or ma'am, like I.
Well, so I guess for me, things has always worked out. My command, because they really supported me in Military Idol. They really did, and when I won, it was like a highlight for them. You know. Cool. Your soldier won the installations Military Idol.
They put that on their OER?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely, yes.
Like they trained you to sing, though.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Through my leadership, blah, 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 blah.
Come on. Yeah, okay.
So when I went to my sergeant major at the time, and they had me, I was the one that used to sing the national anthem at all the graduations and stuff. So they knew,
you were that guy.
Exactly. So, and it was TRADOC, so we always had graduations. Mm-hmm. So I was that guy. So they knew that my musical aspirations, they knew my talent, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So they was like, they let me go.
Okay, that's great.
So that was included in the packet, and I sent it off in I want to say November. Uh-huh. And it's just dead silence. You don't hear nothing back.
For how long?
Nothing until mid-January.
It's like 3 or 4 months almost.
Yes. And it was just like torture. That wait was so long. But one day I got a phone call.
That's so cool.
I got
all right, so they say, all right, Julio, you're the guy. We pick you.
No, they call you and they say, we got your video, whatever, and we're interested in you coming down to. At the time, it was at start with a B in Virginia. What is that called?
Virginia?
The base in Virginia. Is it
Fort Lee?
No, it's the other one. Oh my God, Fort Belvoir.
Oh yeah, right by DC.
Yes. So they said we'd like to invite you to Fort Belvoir to do a live audition.
Okay.
So after your video audition, you go to the live auditions.
Uh-huh.
And so they send you all your plane tickets, everything. And so I went to the live auditions, and it was a week. It was a week. No, it was like 2-3 weeks of the audition process.
Oh, wow.
2 to 3 weeks includes PT tests.
What?
Yeah,
Wait, that cannot be right because
Yeah.
I mean this respectfully to these people, but I definitely saw some like big dudes singing their hearts out,
Yes.
right? And I'm like, there's no way this dude is
Yeah, but they passed their PT test just like all the officers passed. Anyway,
singing. Hey, I used to match my PT test.
so it comprised of your PT test, and you had to do your live audition.
Okay.
You had to be able to pick up choreography like that.
You're dancing too?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. I've never seen a show like that before.
Really?
I've seen the bands and I've seen, I guess, a choir type. I don't remember ever seeing the show.
Oh, you're
I'm missing out.
You're missing out.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
You're thinking of something completely different.
I think I am then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why
yeah,
don't
yeah.
I know this? Do soldiers get to watch you guys?
Yeah.
I've never got to see.
Are
that.
you serious? Yeah. So
Always
when
in
we're
the- always
finished,
in the
I'll
field.
show you the videos. But
Yes.
yeah, the PT test, your choreography, your ability to harmonize and sing chorally, of course,
That's cool.
and all of that stuff, behavior and all that stuff, of course, plays a part in it. But at the end of that audition process, which was like 3 weeks, then they let you know if you're staying for the show, or you've been selected, or you've been cut. And if you're cut, then you go back.
How many people get selected?
So the first year I did it, I think there were like 15 of us.
That's not a lot.
It's not. And then
How many started? Do you remember?
No, I don't. It's like over 20 something.
Easily.
Easily,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the second year I did it, they had budget cuts and stuff. They were downsizing. So I think there was like 10 or 12 of us, or maybe flipped, something like that.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, they definitely cut people. And then I made it twice. And once you get selected, then hell starts. It is hell.
No way.
Yes, way.
Say more.
Okay, so once
I'm so fascinated by this.
Yeah,
because anyone who doesn't know, and my wife and people are always like, "Hey, how is the Army?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had not a more traditional path because I was a 74 series like Hemo,
Mm-hmm.
but I was platoon leader for a striker brigade and battalion, right? And so I was on the line the whole time.
So
I did no CBURN stuff.
It's a whole
Right?
different world.
I maxed my PT tests,
Of
right?
course.
I shot everything, right? So my path was that way, and that's the reason why I went to the Army instead of the Air Force, because I was so like sitting down in the Air Force, like, what am I doing? Like, what's going on? And Sergeant Major comes by, he goes, "Hey, Ton, you want to jump out of airplanes?" It's like, what are you talking about, Sergeant Major? He goes, "Sign a contract with me tomorrow to go in the Army. I'll send you to airborne school your first summer." All right, roger that. And he did.
And you did.
I did. And so I got to do all the fun, cool stuff, right? But when they asked me that, I don't know anything about this other side.
Oh my gosh.
Like we joked about how, the one shop, that the personnel, the human resource shop,
Mm-hmm.
and the logistics, the S4 shop, that's your bread and butter. If you have a good relationship with them, then you're good. I always did that, right?
Yes.
Because I wasn't a typical like 11 series, a 13 series guy, like an infantry or like line guy. But other than that, I don't know anything else about what the Army could do.
Yeah,
I thought everything was to support the line.
No, there were so many opportunities.
I'm so fascinated about it, and I love that there's different ways to serve the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you get picked. Tell me about why it's hell.
Okay.
Because you paid your dues then.
You pay your dues, definitely. So the main thing is that you are a performer and you are the road crew as well. That's what they don't tell you.
The Army is so cheap.
Yep.
Army is so cheap.
So you get trained to build a set, and we're talking tons of equipment.
Oh yeah.
Loading and offloading and actually building the frame and
I thought
all
that was
stuff.
some stages.
Okay,
Yeah.
So building the set and learning about lighting, audio, wiring, all that stuff. So that's why I know what I know now. I'm thankful for that opportunity, but it was So
that's why you gotta pass the PT test.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a typical rehearsal day, you wake up, you do PT, and then you do PT at like 6:00, and then you go back home, of course, to the barracks. You shower really quick, and then you report to the Army the building, the stage. By I think like 7.
And this is all at Fort Belvoir?
This is at Fort Belvoir, and then they moved to Fort Sam Houston afterwards.
Okay.
And then you start. So after you get there, then you head to the stage and you start choreography. So choreography
In uniform.
In PTs.
But you're performing in uniform, I'm guessing.
No.
I don't know. What?
Are you serious?
What are you wearing on stage? Like costumes?
You're wearing costumes, yes.
What is going on?
Can we pause it so I can show you or something?
Yeah, this is one of the nice things about having this right now.
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe this.
Okay.
I thought like as a dancer you would have known this world.
No.
Wow.
Here's the funny thing about me and dance. I didn't start dancing until college. And then in the army, it was my escape. Right? Okay. So I'd be, a young LT, all, 6 to 6 or 6 to 7, whatever it was. And then right after, I was in sweats and sneakers. After I was so removed. All right, so
type in 2000. Actually, just type in my name, Julio Petersen the third, and I have like a highlight reel.
The
SEN. Oh, it should come up either way.
SEN.
Okay, maybe not SEN.
Is that you?
There it is. There it is.
Is that you?
Yes.
No way.
That was me.
I hope this shows up on camera. If not, I'm gonna have to do like a picture in picture.
20 years old. Yes.
This is amazing.
I can't believe this.
I'm gonna try to hold it. That's you?
Yes. That was.
Yo, this is awesome.
We're all soldiers.
This is fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, I've never seen this.
I've
never seen this. What am I thinking about then? I'm thinking about they're like in their uniforms playing in a band or singing on stage.
You're talking about like
the army,
all army band.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff.
Army choir.
That's what I thought you were talking about this whole time.
No.
You're really dancing.
This is yes.
Did you dance? You must have danced before though, like a little bit.
Well, growing up in the Virgin Islands, I was in a calypso band, and so I have that natural. But I'm not a dancer, no.
No, yes you are. Wow, you guys doing like building the set and everything?
Yeah, so we had to build that whole set. And it's like
only 15 of you guys?
Well, we had about 5 tech crew as well. But it was roughly 20 people.
Yeah.
Yes, the whole set. And we're talking like 30, 50 tons of equipment. Because each of those pieces come off and they have to go fit in their cases. It literally took us 7 hours to break down. No, 7 hours, 6 to 7 hours to build it.
Yeah.
And then about 4 hours to break it down. And then perform and then break it down.
How many shows a night?
So for a tech perform strike, it would be 1 show.
What does that mean?
That means strike? You get to the venue at 7 a.m. and you build a set. And you finish building the set at like 3.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the room for a little bit and then come back at like 4 or 5, perform the show. And then immediately after you perform the show, exhausted, a 90-minute high energy show, you have to break down the whole set for another 3 hours. And load it up and we move on to the next.
Tour bus or something?
We had a tour bus,
That's cool,
yes.
So I'm going to shout you out though, because you're leading right now.
I am.
Of course you are. Of course you're lead. That's fantastic.
Right yes. I had in this show I had like God. That's Chris Brown.
I love you so much right now.
Oh my God.
You're getting it. Please do this on one of your episodes. Mr. Peace.
Oh gosh.
You're so good. You're performing and just like
you.
oh my gosh, you're fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean everybody on that stage.
Yeah, we definitely grind.
You're heel toeing right now? What year is this? 2010.
That was 2009.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you for showing me that.
That was a year of Kanye. I did a Kanye song and all of that stuff. So yeah, so that whole rehearsal, we rehearsed and learned the show and learned all the tech stuff for about 4 months.
I wish I could have choreographed that.
You would have been amazing.
Like looking back, like I didn't know that was even a thing I could do in the army. I thought, and I said it before, I thought my job in the army, especially as a young lieutenant who doesn't know anything, was to run fast, ask a lot of questions, and find a really good E6 or E7 NCO and just be like, help. And I lucked out. My first platoon sergeants, I had 2, and they both were like solid.
Yeah.
Like, to this day, like we're really good friends.
Wow.
I just lucked out really well.
Now, do you think do you find that to be, because I've always had difficulty with processing that, where you have an older NCO who's been in, let's say, a first sergeant who's been in for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
But his commander has been in for like 8 years, 7-8 years. Don't really know much. This is his first time running the disconnect is there. And also a staff sergeant who's been in 13, 15 years, but now you have an LT that's over him that's only been in like 4 years, 3 years.
Well, in truth, because I went to ROTC, I don't really even count that time, right? So
right, because you're in school,
right? And so and when I go do training, I saw my airborne school and air all that, I was referred to as cadet,
right,
right. And so it's so weird because I come in, I'm 22, maybe 23, and I get a platoon at 23. I think at the time I was running LST, it's like 67 of us, right?
Wow.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Right? And so it is weird.
It is so weird.
I don't know. Well, what was your experience like that? And I'll share what the officer side is.
Well, for me, being in TRADOC, I really didn't. Well, actually, being in S1, I've had really good leadership in S1. I'm not even gonna lie.
That's good.
And so I kind of avoided everybody, just stayed behind my desk. So I didn't really have negative experiences with officers, except for when I was deployed.
Ooh, we'll get into that one.
Yes.
We'll get into that because I have a poor officer story.
Yeah, when I was deployed. But my first S1 position, human resources specialist. No, so this was an NCO actually.
Okay.
He was a E6, but I mean just
I can't tell if this is a good or a bad. Oh, it's a bad.
Just dumb.
Okay.
And I'm a respectful guy. I've always been, and it just got to the point where it's like he saw. And I don't know if we could talk about racial stuff. Can we go there? Okay.
Course.
He just saw this young Black Caribbean guy, 18 years old, and he felt like he could have just like take advantage, talk to you however you want to.
That's unfortunate.
Be disrespectful.
That's really unfortunate, yeah.
All of that stuff. And there was one day where I think that was the first time that I had, because I'm a very passive guy. So that was the first time that I had really stood up for myself.
Good for you.
Really stood up for myself against him or towards him, whatever you want to say. And all he could say was, "Go at it, you soldier." And I said, "No, I'm not." And I felt so liberated on the inside. But so I say that to say, like, there's definitely issues in the military, definitely, where people put rank before everything else.
There's that phrase, respect the rank, not the man.
Not the man, but or woman.
Right.
Yeah. But that's difficult at times.
Is. So on the officer side, I will say I was very conscious of the fact that I know nothing. Mm-hmm. Even to this day, I'm pretty reluctant.
And that's big for somebody to say. Well, like, because a lot of people they don't say that,
Yeah, but I think I was humbled a lot coming up. So my dad is also, he just retired from the Army.
Oh, okay.
Almost 2 years ago now. It's been in a long time. Came in as an immigrant as well. Led his little whole life, and I came up kind of seeing how I think it's different for immigrants too.
From where?
From Vietnam. Oh, he came over during the war.
Oh, okay.
And his goal was, hey, I want to join the Army, and one day figure out a way to serve back in Vietnam. And his last duty station was back in Vietnam. Like, was pretty cool, right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Don't tell him I like him.
That's pretty cool.
It is really cool, but I think it's different because there's a different level or approach to respect.
Yes.
In how we approach those relationships.
Yes.
But then also because I was a camo by trade, and I wasn't in an 11 series.
Oh.
I felt a chip on my shoulder to
Absolutely.
not. That's why I ran faster. That's why I shot more. That's why I did all those extra things.
Isn't that crazy that outweighs everything else? Like, if you could be no offense, the dumbest person, especially in the S1, S4 shops.
Yeah.
But all you gotta do is run fast.
It's so true.
That's all you gotta do.
It's so true. But you know what? I give credit to the Marines because I think they actually get it right. I think they always say, hey, you're a Marine first, right? And I think we could use a little bit of that in the Army.
Yeah.
Right? Especially, in the shops, like, hey, it's not my job.
Yeah.
It's like, because right now, as reserves, I'm like, you should probably run a little bit. You should probably focus on other things. But that's just what it is. But I don't know. I'm really comfortable saying I'm dumb. And I just don't know.
Yeah.
And
NCOs respect you more.
They do.
Really do. And they're always willing to help you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never got, there's those jokes and pranks that people play on the lieutenants. Yeah. Like, hey, go send them out to go look for, whatever it is, right? Yeah. Like, hey, go look for this thing that's not real.
Exactly.
And I never got that from those guys. And I was really thankful for it. And I just got some really good young NCOs who were like, hey, sir, I got you. And there's a lot of times I was like, hey, Sergeant, you got it? All right. I don't want to know. Like, you just
exactly.
That
relationship. Exactly.
But there were a couple of times when, my platoon sergeant and I stood locked up next to each other in front of the commander, and we were getting reamed out. And I remember walking into some of those meetings going, hey, what are you about to say? Because what am I about to say? I'm not going to say that if you don't say that.
Right.
All right. And we would take our butt whippings together.
Yeah.
And it was just a great thing. So I've never had that problem, but I do know
it exists.
Because there's something about being 22, 23 years old and saying, hey, you're responsible for $5 to $10 million worth of equipment and people. And it's weird. It's different as a leader in the military, even as an NCO or a sergeant, because you're not just responsible 9 to 5.
Exactly.
I remember teaching kids how to shave. I remember teaching kids how to balance checkbooks.
Yeah.
When kids would break up with their fiance,
you gotta
wife.
be that support system. You gotta be the therapist.
If you're drunk, I will pick you up no matter what time it is, and I do that to this day with my friends and my people I was working with.
Yeah.
But as a 22-year-old, you don't. It's hard to understand that.
The responsibility is hard.
Was that helpful coming in as a young soldier, seeing that? Like, I'm hoping you had good NCOs go put their arm around you, go, hey Julio, like I'm here for you. I got you.
I did have that.
Good.
I didn't have that at my first.
You got to find it.
What do you call it? Company.
Okay.
But when I switched to the second company. Staff Sergeant Harvey. We're still friends.
You always know his name.
Yeah, he's now a warrant officer for Harvey.
Oh wow!
So yeah.
So that means he's never working.
He's a hard worker, but he was actually the one that made me audition for Military Idol.
I love that.
He was the one that pushed my packet for Operation. Like, he's always believed in me and my potential. So he was that one that. Awesome leader, like whatever any issues I had, he would take care of me. Like like I said, he's in I think Germany now. But yeah, he was that was the one person that I could say, one soldier or NCO I could say that definitely helped guide my then military career. Yeah. I also had a civilian, Miss Onicia Tanksley. She was the civilian working in the S1 shop with me.
Okay.
Up to this day, I call her mommy. We was just texting on the way here. So she is also has always been my support. So those two together at Fort Leonard Wood was the one that definitely helped, because I was a loner in Fort Leonard Wood.
You were coming from the island.
Exactly. And I had just turned 18 years old.
Didn't know anybody probably.
Didn't know anybody. I couldn't relate to anybody because at the time, everybody that was in the barracks was either smoking or drinking or out clubbing.
And then I have to go get you.
Right. And me for one, I don't smoke. I didn't drink at the time. When I was too young, I was 18. Yeah. I couldn't. I had no interest in. I wasn't interested in drinking or going to the clubs here because the
clubs in Fort Leonard Wood, dude.
Exactly. So
Missouri.
And I just being in S1, I saw all the packets coming through.
Oh yeah,
so exactly.
You processed all the Article 15s,
exactly.
all of the write-ups.
So I just stayed to myself, and
Smart.
And to this day, like that stayed with me. I was kind of forced to stay to myself, really.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Soldier Show happened, and that kind of helped me a lot.
Yeah.
But then when I came back after the Soldier Show in 2009,
So you go back to a regular unit after that?
I went back to my regular
How's
unit
that?
after that.
Is that weird?
It was very weird because I've been on tour performing for a whole year, and now I have to transition back to being a regular soldier.
Is it similar to coming back from deployment?
Yes.
I was gonna ask that.
It is.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
But
it was hard.
Let's just get into that then.
Yeah, it was hard. But what made it harder was so I got back in. When did I get back? I think in November, the end of November, going into December. Everything was cool.
From the show?
Everything was from the show.
Okay.
Everything was fine. I went home to the Virgin Islands because you were allowed 2 weeks leave afterwards because it's a lot of work. So, you need a break.
It's a deployment, dude.
It is.
Yeah.
So I went home for 2 weeks. And when I came back, here it is. I slapped it on my desk. You're going to be getting deployed. And
you had no idea.
I had no idea I was getting nothing. So
and what unit is this at, or where were we at?
I was still in Tradoc, Fort Leonard Wood.
Fort Leonard Wood.
Yes. And so what happens in Tradoc is that they I forgot what
Tradoc is the training command, right? So there are certain installations or posts around for the Army that are specific for training new soldiers coming in,
all the
schoolhouses,
basic training, all
right?
of that.
So that's where he was stationed at, and that's why I'm surprised you got deployed out of that, because normally those units
don't get deployed.
Safe.
Exactly.
I don't say safe, but they're
it's
specific
rare
for training.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Okay, so tell me about that.
So what they do is they take soldiers from their unit and they deploy them with a unit that's already there.
Oh. So who did you get assigned with?
So I got, So I was at the, where was I? I was in Baghdad. I forgot what the unit is called. I forgot the name of the unit.
2009, 2010?
2009, 2010, 2011.
In Baghdad?
In Baghdad.
Oh, you had some fun.
Sure. I mean, I've compared to the earlier years, I'm sure it was a lot better.
I mean, it's relative.
Yeah.
I'm half joking.
But the thing about it was, remember now, before I went to the soldier show, I was alone and felt alone, and then having friends and all of that stuff. When I went to the soldier show, it was the complete opposite. You know? I was finally with people that I could relate to and all of that stuff. And then
creatives, artists, dancing,
exactly.
A young Chris Brown.
Yeah, right. And then I got and it was over. And so life just stopped. It was over, and I got sent back.
How fast between when you get the packet and when you actually go wheels up?
To
Baghdad.
I got the packet in the end of the middle of February.
Okay.
Or maybe the end of January, and I deployed March 2nd. However,
30, 45 days.
But because I was deployed by myself, I had to leave my unit and go to a.
You didn't even prep with anybody?
No, I prepped by myself.
That's half of the bonding.
Exactly. No, I prepped by myself. So, what do you call it? I forgot whatever it's called. I don't know. But yeah, so you go there first for a week or two. To prep, I guess, and then from there, then it's wheels up by yourself to wherever you go. So
are you just sitting next to a deploying unit?
I was,
and then you're just tagging along, reporting to them until you get to.
No, so the people that were at the prep station, what it's called? I don't remember what it's called.
I kind of do.
Okay, well, the people that were at the prep station, we'll call it that, were all individuals going to different units all of you guys, all of us. So even if we bonded there in that 1 or 2 weeks, we were probably never going to see each other again anyway. Yeah. So that happened, and then I left Wheels Up March 2nd.
Yeah.
No, April 2nd.
But even then, it's 60 days.
Yeah, and then we went to.
Did you get any pre-leave? Well, I guess you got those 2 weeks when you got back, huh?
Yeah, but counted? Yeah, I guess that counted.
Okay.
I guess that counted. We went to Kuwait. I was in Kuwait for about a week again.
A holding?
Yeah, in those god-awful tents. It was so bad. But again, I didn't know anybody because now I'm still by myself because the people that were with me, they're all gone to different places now.
Yeah.
So
and then just learning more about you when you're alone, you probably pull more in versus finding.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm very much an introvert.
Yeah.
Very much.
And that's, I mean, compounded on being across the world, knowing you're about to be deployed into a.
And at the time I had
combat
just turned 21, so I was still very, very, very young.
Missing out on going out to be drinking. Right? But I want to paint the picture though, because not only is it stressful to go deploy, right? But you're deploying
by yourself.
21 by yourself, coming fresh off a show where you're a star, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. For 2 years, and now it's like that's
just
crazy.
go in this unknown world.
So what's it like when you finally get to your unit?
So when I get to my unit now, I was at the I was in the Palace.
Okay, I know what
S1. I was in so I was USF, United States Forces International J5.
Okay.
USFI J5. So this is so, like, honest to God, I don't know if this is probably what affects me now, but like thinking about it, this conversation made me realize like I have literally been alone throughout the whole process other than the soldier show, because when I got deployed, now I was the S1 at the headquarters level with lieutenants, colonels, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star generals. I was still at E4.
Yeah.
I was still at E4 with these major generals from Air Force, Navy, because it was all.
So you're probably feeling a little underwater too.
Look! Oh my gosh! So that was stressful. That was very, because the expectation now was so high of me.
Do you think so? You don't think they were like, hey, this kid just got back. We really can't expect a whole lot from him.
No.
Really?
And
I would have given you that slack.
In Iraq or at Fort Leonard Wood?
In Iraq.
In Iraq, they didn't know me.
But I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Because as an officer or previous officer, I'm an officer now, I just want to be like, I got a brand new 21 E4 who's been on the show. He doesn't know shit.
They didn't know I was on the show. Like, I was literally a new person. Yeah. Nobody knew nothing about me. Yeah. Nothing. It was like starting all over again. It really was starting all over again.
How long were you deployed for?
A year.
Okay.
I was deployed for a year. So luckily I found, well, I guess they told me about the church. Yeah. The gospel service. Yeah. And so I went to the gospel service and I joined the gospel choir.
That's nice.
During the gospel service. Nice. So I found people there that were into music and performing and stuff.
That's important.
Ish, yeah. So I found that. And then eventually I became the choir director.
That's cool.
Yeah. Because the then choir director, Sergeant First Class Woods, one of my close friends as well today, wow. So she was with, actually the whole choir, all those people were with us we were together for a good 5 to 6 months, because that was that unit that was there, but they were there before I got there. So they still like had half a year left.
Wait, so when they ripped out, you stayed? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so
I'm actually upset because I love taking care of soldiers.
Yeah, and
just hearing the story, and I understand that there are different factors and everything. But I'm just like,
right,
man, there's just so many touch points where you could have been taken care of a little bit more, from it sounds like. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why I became an officer.
And I didn't realize that it was a problem until like now.
Because if you don't know, you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but that's what affects me today, I guess.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So coming back from the show, coming back from the show is like coming back from deployment, right? Mm-hmm. Because what I explain to people is it's like playing in the Super Bowl and then coming back and then coaching Pee Wee. It's like you just did your job.
Yeah.
Your calling, whether it was singing on stage, or deploying as a soldier, like that's what you were trained to do. Mm-hmm. And now you come back, and for me, it was hard to find meaning or weight in a lot of things.
Yes.
Because I'm like, why are you complaining?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Like,
absolutely.
Like, oh, there's traffic. Yeah, I have road rage too.
Yes.
Because I'm proximity, but not because I'm going to be late. Like,
right.
You should just left early. You know what I'm saying? So how do you deal with that? Because you come back and you're 20.
I'm coming up 22 by now. Yes.
Okay, so
I'm 22.
And you're young because when I came back, I was 24, 25. So I had a little bit of time, but you're still young.
I'm still
You
very
haven't really
young.
drank even in the States?
Nope.
Are you about to start drinking?
Well, back home, the legal age is 18, so I was drinking back home.
Yeah.
But I was never a heavy drink. Like I never.
Yeah.
Like I used to get drunk off of Punch in Cuba. It's
You're
like
adorable.
So yes, I never used to drink.
So what is it like coming back then? Because
after that unit left, who I bonded with, now here comes a new unit from Bragg.
that could be tough.
That was extremely tough.
Were they stereotypical Bragg soldiers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that in itself was,
If you know, you know.
exactly.
Right. I get it. Yeah.
That in itself was very, very
Who
hard.
feels isolated, who's a creative,
Yes.
who's looking for different ways to
Yes.
express
And now here are all these just gung ho soldiers that don't care nothing about that. Like they
in the height of ready to go.
Yeah. And so I was like, I had maybe like 4 or 5, 3 months left. So I was winding down. But with me winding down and they're coming in, they're just starting. I want to leave.
And you can't slack.
You can't. So there was always all of that, and it was a lot. But anyway, so
do you go back to Leonard Wood when you come back though?
I'd go back to Leonard when I get back. But when I was there in Iraq, like I had to travel from Baghdad to the embassy, at least once a week. To deliver mail and all of that stuff. So I saw a lot on that 45-minute trip back and forth. It was, at 21 years old, it was the most terrifying parts of my life. Every single week having to do that. Like, and then you're just seeing stuff and hearing all this stuff. I mean, and then like every time you go, not every time, but there's time when you go out and you're on alert the whole time, and you don't ever come back down from being on alert, like ever. So up to this day, when I'm driving, I'm like alert
all the time.
I see a box in the road, I'm freaking out. Like
it's crazy because I feel you 100% right now, because we were driving last week and there was this minivan. And the back left was sitting low, right? And so I went to Afghanistan, so the war is a little bit different. So we were super IED heavy, and so I always know those kinds of things. And while that's going off, my son's toy starts beeping in the back. So I'm like, find it. She finally finds it. She starts giggling. And I was like, why are you? I snap. I feel so bad, but I snap.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you laughing? Well, because I was scared. I didn't know what it was. But then I found out it was a toy, so it's funny. And I was like, what you were worried about for like 2 seconds is like all the time, right? So do you still feel super tense?
Absolutely. So right now,
it's been a decade.
And it affects me up to this day. Right now, the biggest thing that affects me, I won't say the biggest thing, the most recent thing that affects me was because I just started, this is my 3rd year teaching, fire alarms, fire drills, loud banging of the lockers, like when they're closing the locker doors.
I hate it.
Last week we had a fire drill. Freaked out.
So can I ask, and if you're okay with sharing this, so what are your coping mechanisms now? And I ask because I'm curious, because I'm going through a similar thing.
Yes.
And I'm trying to find ways to cope, especially now that I have my son.
So I'll give you, last school year I had back-to-back panic attacks because I was on that morning of that day, there was a 5th grader, behavioral issues, and he didn't get his way. So we were in the auditorium at the time practicing for the Christmas show because it was last Christmas.
Okay.
He walked to the side where there's stacks of chairs.
Oh no.
On the road, and he just climbed up on the chairs and started banging them down on the floor.
I'm getting tense to think about it.
Just banging them down. And I knew what was happening, so I thought I was okay, right? But it didn't stop. And so after class was over, I walked because he was 5th grade, so there was 4th grade coming in my room already. So when I walked down the hall to my room, I felt it. Like I felt my arms tingling. I felt my heart beating. So I was trying to breathe, trying to think of something else. So I walked into the room and I immediately told the teacher, I'm about to have an attack. I need you to just stay here for a minute, please.
That's good.
And so I told the music teacher, and he's also a prior military, so he understood. So I walked outside.
Yeah.
Walked down the side of the building, was just breathing. And on my phone, my thing is like ocean waves. I'm from the island, so ocean waves calm me down. So I was listening to the ocean waves on my phone, and it was helping me, right? Walked back in the building, saw the music teacher standing at my door. He saw I had tears in I was crying.
I believe it.
I was crying. And I thought I was okay. I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm good to come back in now. But he knew that I wasn't, because I was still like this, literally still. I'm just reliving it. It's just,
I'm getting tense to think about it.
Just relive it. So he was like, you can just go back out. I got you. Just go back out. I said, I'm okay. I think I'm okay. And so I went back out. And then the second time I came back in again, I said, okay, I'm good. Yeah. But there's this heaviness on my chest. Yeah. I'm trying to avoid it. Okay. So I went into the room. I had the projector up because I knew I couldn't teach. So I needed to find a way to just play something so I could calm down. So I put the projector up. And as I was putting the projector up, there goes the fire alarm. Ugh. And I literally started screaming. I crouched down my back was against the wall. I crouched down and I started shaking. And the students were like, what's wrong? The fourth grade teacher came back in. I guess she kind of knew. So she came back in and she told me, just stay right here. She took them out my back door. After that, I grabbed my phone and I texted the principal and I told him what's happening to me right now. Yeah. And so I walked, the alarm was still going off. I'm shaking, I'm crying. I walked out the back door. I waited for them to leave because I didn't want them to see me like that. Yeah. So I walked out the back door and I crouched down against the side wall and I looked up and I saw the principal running from the back building, running towards my classroom. So he already knew what was, I'm getting chills. He already knew what was happening. He was coming to get me. So he came, he got me. I remember putting my arm over him and he was literally walking me back inside the building. We went into the counselor's office. Everybody's out the building, but we went into the counselor's office and he closed the door and I put back on the waves and I was just back and forth, listening, trying to breathe. So did I talk about, I think that was 2, right? Did I say the 2? Yeah, that was the 2. So that was the 2 back-to-back attacks. After about an hour, which seemed like the whole half a day, okay?
You're exhausted too.
Yes. So after about an hour went by, or maybe it was like 15. Actually, it wasn't an hour. It was like 15 minutes because it's a fire alarm. But it felt like an hour. Sure. He came back in and we talked a little bit. He asked me, am I good? Because he was sending me home. I couldn't. So he asked me, am I good to go home, to drive home? I said, yeah. And so I drove home and I just crawled up in my bed and I stayed in my bed the whole day. Yeah. And then the next day afterwards, I did not want to even get out of the bed. It was so
Why is that?
Emotionally and physically draining. I was scared to go back into the school and it happened again because the student he's a student there. So I was afraid to go back into the school. Yeah. I was afraid I was just afraid of being in that environment again because it's a horrible experience to go through. And with me being in the school, it happens so often. Any little thing, there's somebody that bang on the locker. Well, my door, my room, the lockers are attached to my room.
Yeah.
So I hear it
all the time.
I freak out. Balloons,
the worst. I can't do it.
I
purposely avoid some parties.
Yes.
Because of it.
Yes.
And
I do.
my wife is so good about it because she sees balloons, and because we're good about staying up and clean up.
Mm-hmm.
She always goes, "Hey, you should leave right now because we're gonna do the balloons."
Mm-hmm.
Or she'll tell like the host like, "Hey, we can't pop these right now." You know.
Yes, that's so great.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for her because I didn't know what it was before too. The one that got me the worst was in a locker. I was at a dance studio and it was the gym mats.
And it falls.
The gym mat fell down, hit the thing, and I think it was one of my first episodes, and I didn't know what it was, and I did the thing you did, and I went and I found a dark corner in another room, started scrolling out and started doing this. I had never done that in my life.
Never.
Ever. I didn't do it on deployment, and this was probably almost a year after deployment. So
Exactly.
I thought I was okay.
You thought you were good.
I thought I was okay.
Exactly.
And that happened, and I remember my buddy coming to me like, "Hey, are you okay?" Being super sweet, and I just being like, "I don't know." I even at that point, I didn't associate it with my time in the military.
No.
I just thought it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Did you have PTSD symptoms right away?
No.
That's what's crazy to me, and why I appreciate you telling me this.
Exactly.
So when did it start manifesting?
When it started, the balloons thing started when I started working at Jamboree. Playing music as a music teacher before I became an official public school teacher. And so Jamboree on the weekends, I would facilitate the birthday parties. Right? And so I'm cool. Like, we're popping.
You have no idea.
At the end, we always like pop the balloons. But I noticed like every birthday party, it would become more and more.
I think that's what it was.
Annoyance. Like something is happening here. And it just escalated to the point where I just could not do the balloons anymore. I would just freak out. And so they knew that when it was time to pop the balloons, we either tell the parents to leave with them or my assistant would have me go out.
Yes.
And then she would pop them.
Yeah.
But it just came out of nowhere.
It's so weird.
It really came out of nowhere. And
I thought I was the only one. I'm so glad you're sharing that. Thank
you. You're not.
Yeah.
And for me, I always question myself. Like, am I mentally okay? Because how is it that one day I could be fine with balloons and now it just escalates to the point where I'm telling myself that I cannot be around balloons anymore? Is that me just going crazy? Like, am I in my own head? How do I get out of my head and be okay with it?
And as a grown man.
And as a grown, yes.
That's a tough part, right? That's the ego of a man going,
yeah.
I'm helping out at a children's birthday party. And because I had the same thing. I feel that 100%. So, can I ask you this? Do you feel, this my conversation might be just for me, to be honest.
That's fine.
So, let's talk balloons for a second, right? Is it every time you hear a balloon, or is it sometimes worse than others?
It's to the point now where, so the last time I heard balloons popped was last year after we'd had a end of the school year party, and and the principal. Oh, actually, it may have. I'll tell you of another instance. But so the principal told everybody it's okay to pop the balloons, and they pop, 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 like gunshots, pop, 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 and I just ran out of there. I literally dropped everything and I ran out of there.
I do the same thing.
So fast.
I would do the same thing.
Like, it was crazy. And I texted him afterwards and I told him, like, you may not realize it and it's not your fault, but when you told blah, 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 this is what happened to me. So please be mindful of that. Yeah. So there was that. Prior to that, so this was the end of the school year. Yeah. At the beginning of the school year, we have what's called in-service, where it's our teacher training in the summer, right before the kids come back. And we were at a location in the Midtown area at a school there.
Yeah.
And first thing happened. I was eating lunch. It was a sandwich that they gave us. I was outside, right outside my car, and a truck backfired. I was okay.
I was okay the first time I heard that too.
Yeah.
First couple times. But every once in a while.
Right.
Every once in a while, it'll sound... Because you can kind of tell the difference. But every once in a while, if I wasn't ready, it takes me a second to register.
Right. And so I thought I was okay. Okay, it's a truck backfire. I saw it was a truck. I'm okay. I told myself I'm okay. Fine. It's time to go back inside now. And we went through the second half. We had about 30, 45 minutes left. But we had an exercise. We were tossing balloons in the air, and the person would catch it, and we had to keep it off the ground. Okay. Fine. But now you tell everybody to pop the balloons afterwards. Yeah. So now I'm already triggered from the car backfire. And I think
that's something I didn't realize is the triggers add up, and they stay there until...
Even though you think you're fine. Exactly. And so once that happened... They're popping the balloons. I remember it's a long table. Teachers on that side, teachers on this side. The art teacher, or the former art teacher, she was right here. She already knew what was happening to me. She knows. Yeah. Because we're a team, an ancillary team. Good. So she knows the enrichment team. So I started doing this. Telling myself when I'm shaking, and I'm like, telling myself it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah, physically, verbally, because you want to hear something.
Verbally,
you need to hear something else.
Now with a row of teachers watching this teacher doing this and yelling, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay." And so as I'm saying, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay," the tears are coming down my face.
I get it.
They're coming down my face. And she saw me and she whispered in my ears, "Go to the restroom. I got you. Go to the restroom."
Is that a nice feeling when she says that? Or is that let me just do this for a second?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
And of course, after it's over, I'm appreciative of her. But in that moment, I don't know. I guess in that moment, I'm just stuck here.
Yeah.
Not realizing how loud I am, maybe, or how much I'm shaking.
Yeah, that's one of the worst.
Maybe, yeah. And so she told me, so I get up and I walk to the restroom. I go in there, I go in a stall, and I'm sitting on the toilet, calming myself down. After I think I'm calm, then I go to the sink and I'm washing my eye out, washing my face, cold water, all that stuff. Yeah. And I'm walking back to the hallway, but I'm walking back and I'm swinging my arms, trying to calm down, swinging my arms.
You do that too? I do that subconsciously around those times. I think it's to release the energy.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe, but it's something with... Because when an attack is happening, like all of this vibrates.
I feel like I'm on too much pre-workout.
Yeah, that's what it feels
in
like.
My fingers.
Yeah, everything is tingling.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Really? This is.
Yeah, I get it. It's.
Wow.
Yeah. Can I share for a second?
Yes, please. Because I'm like, I thought I was alone. No, I'm not alone. But
this is why
I've never shared my experience.
Thank you for sharing this with me and for my son who's going to watch this one day, because he needs to know my most recent one, which was my worst one, I feel like, was July 4th this year.
I saw your picture in the closet.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I know.
I was really hesitant to do that because I'm so fresh and learning about my own PTSD, and owning it, and also feeling guilty for having it, and all those things. And I still struggle very much so right now of wanting to be what I think a man should be, and having moments of rocking and thinking to myself, I look like a 5-year-old right now. It's hard for me to do that and accept it and not feel ashamed or embarrassed while dealing with my episode. So anyway, our old neighborhood, bless them, they're very close. They play outside. And when I got home from work that day, the fireworks were going off 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
this is during COVID.
They start early.
and I got a Vietnamese family next to me, and I got a Mexican family on the other side. And so it's a party.
Yeah,
they're going, and bless them. And these aren't like little firecrackers. These are the
They
ones
were
that
the
go
loud ones. I remember.
Oh my gosh. I run inside. I'm like, I'm okay. And I start pacing the house.
Oh.
And my wife goes, get in the car. So we drive to my parents who live in Sugar Land. And the whole time I'm like, I'm in the car. I'm doing this. I'm like doing the same thing. My ears like, I'm like, I might have been screaming to myself. I don't know.
You don't.
Because I don't want to hear them. I need to hear me and hear something else. I'm like, whatever. In the car rocking. And I'm also like hiding underneath the door because I don't want my neighbors to see.
Oh my gosh.
And my neighbor's a cop, I think, right? And so I think he might get it, but we don't have that relationship. I don't know. And I also don't want to ruin their fun.
Exactly.
That's the worst part. Like, I don't want to ruin their fun because I'm going through
always self-blame. Always.
I'm working on that right now.
Yeah.
So I go to my parents' house and I just go straight upstairs. I text my mom like, hey, I need to come. I'm thinking this is happening right now. They know this. And my dad, who is in the military, been deployed a couple of times. We don't really talk about it, but he knows I've had some things going on. And I'm getting it right now. And when I walked in, I was like, I didn't even say hi. I went straight up, and I said, "Take the baby, who's probably a year at that point. You sleep over there. I'm sleeping in the closet because I'll do this. I won't be able to sleep. I'm rocking right now, and I can't stop. I'm scared he's gonna come by me, and I'm gonna push him or."
Yeah.
There was a moment she asked me something, and I snapped verbally at her, and I feel like such a shitty husband when that happens. I hate even saying that now. And I was like, I would hate for that to be his first memory. Right? Oh man, like right now I'm like getting hated. So it's just like those things. I just spent all night in there listening. And so you listen to Ocean Waves. I listen to like 90s R&B music.
Oh.
Right? Like boy band stuff. I'm just like,
yeah.
Because I'm like trying to sing in my head.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And you sing like, I'm trying to get these endorphins back.
Yes.
And I spend there all night. And in the morning, my son's sleeping. I come out and it's almost like it never happens. And I think that's one of the things I also want to ask you about is when you have an episode that strong, how you said the next day it's so tough to get out of bed.
Yeah.
How do you, and I ask this from a place of ego, right? How do you go back to school and look at your coworkers? Is it appropriate for me to ask that?
No, it is absolutely. I don't.
Because I say that as
because I had
my ego.
Yeah, I had to figure out because remember I did it in front of my class, so now I had to figure out how do I approach these students again.
There's a power dynamic in class, right? Or respect dynamic.
What I did actually helped me.
Tell me more.
So I went into the room and I basically had a discussion about what happened.
Talked about it.
I talked about it. I told them why. I know. I told them why it would happen. But you know what? We don't give kids a lot of credit, though. Kids are really understanding.
Yeah.
And they're very comforting. So I told them what's happening. I explained to them why it happened.
Yeah.
And they literally loved on me. Like they literally helped me.
Makes me want to cry right now.
Yeah, and that's why I love where I'm at because, and I love teaching because they are affecting my life as much as I am, and influencing my life as much as I am them.
I love that.
So that morning when I spoke to them, they literally got it. And it's okay, Mr. Petersen. You're gonna be okay. We love you, Mr. Like
I love that because I was worried that you're gonna have some jerk of a kid be like,
exactly. Me too.
Wall,
Me too. But I didn't.
That's amazing.
They were very, very helpful, and the only teachers that saw me were that one 4th grade teacher, and then it was the music teacher and the art teacher that knew. They already know what happens.
And they're there for you.
And they're there for me. So a combination of that and the students definitely helped me to get through it. But now it is happening so often. Now
more so, you think?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it hasn't happened this year yet because of COVID.
Yeah.
But ever since that first incident, there's been like 3 or 4 incidents afterward. Actually, it did happen with the fire drill. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, but I was with pre-K kids, so they really didn't. Yeah, but they didn't really like.
Do you think you would ever do an episode about something like that? That's heavy. That's some Mr. Rogers type stuff.
Well, I kind of did. Well, that's what I was leaning towards when I did the feelings episode.
That was a great one, by the way.
Let's learn. Yeah, thank you.
Because I believe that's the one that you were introducing different words. And
I don't know if I remember.
Well, for me, I was like, okay, well, the feelings are good because I'm such a primitive dude. I'm just like happy, sad, angry.
Oh yes, right. Yes, yes.
But you were like explaining like there's different. Would you mind kind of like going back into like
explaining I don't remember.
Well, no, I'm trying to think of what I took away was, but from me, what I understood was I'm learning from a kid's show, right?
Yeah,
that's why it's really amazing because I was like, there are different ways to express it.
Yes,
and for me to go, I'm just angry is not helpful to me.
Yeah,
or those around me.
Yeah,
because they don't know how to help me.
Yeah,
and I know I'm like really reaching into the episode right now.
Well, if you got it, then great.
But that's what I got from it.
Then that means it's working. But what I think the direction that I was going for with that episode, that was the George Floyd incident had just happened.
Yeah.
We were still going through COVID, and I had a panic. I had a session with my mental health therapist that was just hard. It was hard. That was a hard session.
I'm scared to go back.
Don't be, but it was a hard session. So a combination of those three, for me, I had no interest in putting out any more content whatsoever. I could not find a place to be happy. Yeah. Like to be all happy-go-lucky on a show, and internally I feel like crap at that moment. Yeah. So I spoke to Kirk about it, and he was like, "We just be transparent about what you are feeling right now." Yeah, because I'm sure he was like, "I'm sure other people are feeling the same way because the George Floyd incident had just happened." So I said, "Okay." So I needed to find, and we went back and forth with this for days. Like, how do I create an episode that still appeals to kids but talks about everything that's going on with me as well?
I think you did really well.
Thank you.
Because you tackled some really hard things, and I'm always surprised, and that's why I am surprised when you say you just started.
Yeah.
In the last 6 to 12 months.
6 months, actually, March.
Because the things you tackle already are very. I associate what you're doing as going along the path of like the Mr. Rogers neighborhood.
Thank you.
Right, like. Yeah. Very wholesome, but not afraid to tackle and speak on certain things.
Yeah.
Because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, okay, it's very like, and if you don't know, I'll put some clips up here, but it's like, it could be very like Blues Cluesy.
Yeah.
Right? Which is fine. It's great. But then I'm also like, man, but he's really teaching something.
Yeah. Right so now. That was the direction that the first episode was really, I needed to do 3 things.
Okay.
I needed to teach my older students, 4th and 5th graders.
Okay.
Still teach them.
Yeah.
I needed to sing songs that appeal to my kindergarten and pre-Kers.
So this one episode is supposed to do all those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then COVID had just happened. We were just out of school.
Yeah.
They're missing their friends. What is this new thing that's going on? So I need to find a way to tell them that what they're going through is okay.
Yeah.
And that we as in me, I love them and I miss them as much as they love and miss me and their friends.
Yeah.
So that was a combination of the first ever episode, which is not even on YouTube.
Really?
I never posted it on YouTube.
Why not?
That was a Facebook post.
Oh.
Because I started off posting it. Probably not. Because I didn't even share it. I started off posting it on Facebook. It's like the first 2 episodes is Facebook episodes. But I didn't want to post it on YouTube.
You guys got good with the green screen really fast.
Oh yeah,
really fast.
That's a whole other conversation too.
You guys got good really fast.
Thank you. You want to know about that? So this is also something that I battle with. I sometimes, and I said this numerous times in numerous interviews, I get in my own head and I psych myself out and I tell myself I cannot do it. A lot. Especially if I'm going through depression, anxiety, all of that. Oh,
makes it worse.
I'm not. So Kirk was like, okay, we need to step it up a bit. Now, what are we gonna do different? He said you should get a green screen because he want to try and do graphics on a green screen. No, I don't want to use a green screen. What I'm doing is okay right now. I don't want to use a green screen because I don't know how. And no.
In your mind, when you make the move to green screen, do you also, because this is where I would go with it mentally, is I would go, no, because I have to take it seriously.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Because now if we step the production up, and I've done it.
Yeah.
I go, now I can't back out.
Yes.
Now I'm on the hook to produce something worth watching.
Yes.
And I have to be not careful but conscious.
Yes. And now I'm going to say it and I'll be so honest. I'm afraid that more people are going to now like it and be more, I guess.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, become more popular because of that. I was afraid of that.
Afraid of being
too big or becoming too popular because
it's common. It's common, but why would you feel that way?
Because I'm not comfortable around groups of people. I'm not comfortable around receiving a lot of attention and all of that stuff. I'm not. I'm learning to, but legit, when people comment on the post and say nice things to me, and I say thank you, I appreciate you very much. That comes from the heart. Like I literally feel that way because in my mind and in my heart, I'm just doing stuff like. And every time somebody says something or groups of people flock towards me, it's like, oh my gosh, really? I've always been this humble person, even winning all these competitions as a teenager, all of this stuff. And I think that's one reason also why I joined the Army, to be honest. Because right before I joined the Army and went to college. No. I was in college then. I opened for Neo.
Oh, nice.
He was just becoming Neo.
Yeah.
And he came down and he did a concert in the Virgin Islands and I opened for him. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, I'm opening for Neo.
You're doing it.
But in the back of my head, I'm like, but I don't want to be this famous person.
Isn't that such a weird thing? And I can relate because as a dancer, it's weird. And dancers are normally like in the back anyway.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It's such a contradictory thing, right?
It
because
is.
You're a performer, you love performing, you're great at performing, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to get too good.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to get too appreciated, but I love doing what I do.
I love doing what I do, yeah.
And if the more you love it, the better you are at it, the more you're going to get something that makes you uncomfortable.
So that's what happened with the green screen. And he was right. The green screen took the show to a whole. Well, before I say that. Yeah. So I ordered the green screen, and you could ask him. I'm not lying to you. The Amazon box sat down at the front door for 4 weeks.
Weeks? I was about to say days.
No,
that's a month. Don't say 4 weeks. Just say a month.
Okay, for a whole month, the whole summer, it sat there. And I did not take it out the box because I was so
Please tell me
scared.
you didn't see it.
No, I picked it up from the front porch.
You're walking over the box every day?
Well, it was right there by the door. Yes, literally every day.
You're like nobody stole it.
Well, no, it was inside the house. It was inside the house, but it was at the front door inside the house. Funny. And I never, because the studio room is upstairs, so I never took it out the box.
Oh, is that what you guys do? I know.
Yeah.
I have an idea what your house looks like, probably.
Yeah.
But that's so crazy.
So I never took it out the box. And eventually, he talked me into it and was like, we're going to do a green screen for this new season. So I took it out the box and I put it up and I recorded the whole back to school episode.
And the first one?
That was the first one on the green screen. The whole back to school episode, I recorded it. And then when I sent it to him, he couldn't figure out how to... Because he
had a month to figure it out.
Yeah, but he could because one it wasn't straight enough, like stretched.
Oh, so you were getting wrinkles enough. And you were getting the different.
A few wrinkles.
The shadows in there, so it's hard to key it out.
And then I was too close to the back, too close to
the shadows hitting.
The shadow was hitting too.
I act like I know what I'm talking about.
So I sent him it, and he tried for like 2 weeks to.
It's hard,
but he couldn't. So he was like, you have to record the whole thing over again. So I tried everything like to try to not record this. But eventually I had to record the whole episode over again.
Yeah.
So that back to school episode was a re-recording, and we both could tell like the energy was not the same as the
really?
first. Yeah, it was not.
Do you script it out too, I'm guessing? Bullet points. Just freestyle. Let's go.
Well, honestly, like the honest truth, I go upstairs and I should because it will shorten my time. But I go upstairs and I research and I talk and I research and I talk.
I'm okay with that though because I feel like I don't want you to be scripted.
Yeah.
I feel like when you speak, I'm like, okay, he's talking to me. I think that's one of the reasons why I like it.
Oh.
But oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
So now that you use it.
It is so much easier.
I was going to say.
Because I used to literally take the camera and move to different places of the house for different shots.
You were in the backyard.
Yes,
you had 2 shots in the backyard.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But now it's so much easier.
Yeah.
It is.
It looks good. It's probably easier on the audio too.
Yeah. And I got and I have the microphone.
I noticed that really fast.
Now, but I'm still trying to work out the microphone thing because I can't adjust the volume. So, especially when I'm singing, it gets really loud. And so, I still gotta. So, what I've started doing is pre-recording the songs.
Okay.
And then.
Is that what you're doing on your IG post recently? Or is that some voice work?
No, that's voice work I'm doing for for the puppet show. So this guy's name is Mr. Leo. He has a puppet show. He does puppet show and entertainment in the Fort Bend area.
Okay.
We connected when I was in college. So like 2016, 2015 time frame. He my theater professor at the time, he asked her if he have any students that and so she recommended me, and I voice recorded his first puppet show.
Oh, wow.
And so from then, we've had that connection. But not recently. This was just last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, whatever it was. So he reached out to me, and he's like, he has this guy that has a game show, a kids game company that he's creating.
That's cool.
And the guy wants to make a puppet version of the game show so that to promote it or whatever, or put it on wherever. So Mr. Leo created a puppet show based on the characters from the board game show. And so he needed voices to record the puppets. And so that's what I did. Yeah, I love it. I just love it. And I talk about it a lot. I used to get teased a lot for my voice. A lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot. I used to get teased.
Kids can be cool.
So I was from my elementary up until about 7th grade, I was a mute. I did not speak.
Because you were embarrassed.
Because I was other things. But I was bullied a lot in elementary school and middle up until 7th grade.
Yeah.
And so my way of to not get bullied was to disappear.
Yeah.
So I disappeared. Because my voice wasn't masculine enough and all of that stuff. So I said, if I did not speak, if nobody heard me speak or see my gestures or any of that stuff, if I just disappeared in the room, I would not get bullied. And it kind of worked, but it affected me. That also would affect me. Yeah. So for about 3-4 years, I really hardly spoke at all. That's crazy,
because those are key years on socializing development and all that too, right?
Yeah. But now I use it to my advantage now.
I love that. I love that.
So, yeah.
I love that. I appreciate this conversation so much.
Me too.
You have no idea.
I needed it.
Me too. Yeah. It's been weird, it's also kind of nice reaffirming what I thought the vibe was with you, just connecting online, seeing you, and just even, again, first time we've ever seen each other face to face.
Yeah.
Because you would text me sometimes or Facebook message me when you would drive by sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, hey, was that you?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Thank you for
And
noticing.
again, I was afraid.
Yeah.
I intentionally put off interviews with you. Like, and not intentionally.
No, I get it.
Things
Yeah.
happen. Like we were rebuilding the floors. And
Yeah.
all. But prior to that, like I would try to find an excuse not to come and meet with you because I was terrified.
What made you terrified? Can I ask that?
Just me being me. I'm terrified with meeting new people, and I guess I still kind of struggle with acceptance, kind of. So I still struggle with that a bit, especially when meeting new people. So when I saw that you were into the arts and you were into dancing and choreography, and I was like, okay, this is somebody that I know I could be myself with.
Yes.
And I won't have to do,
It's always crazy finding a creative who was also in the military.
Yeah.
That's when I knew that we would have some things to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Because it's to do one or the other takes a certain person, more or less, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But to do both,
both,
there's a dynamic in there
There
that
is.
is just far and few.
Yeah, and that's why I'm shocked that you didn't know about the Soldier Show. Because
I didn't start dancing until college, and then when I was in the Army, to me it was just cool stuff.
Yeah.
Where
were you stationed at?
Fort Bliss.
We traveled to Fort Bliss so many times.
I was probably in the field.
You were probably in the field.
I was probably doing something dumb, Or I was, if it was after hours, I was probably running crazy around Fort Bliss.
Okay.
But I'm just so happy to be sitting here with you. I'm happy that you found your voice. Almost literally.
Literally, yeah.
Right? And just that you shared your story with me, because it's been therapeutic for me to hear it.
Me too.
And to share a little bit with it. I'm trying to find reasons to do it. And then the reason why I do this right now is so that my son Elijah, who I wish you could meet, but he was kind of he's tired, that maybe it's the PTSD in me, I don't know, the morbidness, but it's like, if something were to ever happen, I want him to see me talking to interesting people, to people that he could learn from.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to speak with you just strictly off of the Mr. Pete's Playhouse. Like, that's alone is we're talking to you about. But all these other things, I think he's going to see different colors of his dad now. And thank you for sharing that and letting him see that.
Yeah.
I just want to ask, and I ask everybody this, when my son looks at this 10, 15 years from now, right? He'll still be in our lives.
Yes.
Aww. And he's looking back at Tio Julio, right? What would you want him to know? What life lesson have you learned that you wanted him to share?
I would definitely tell him what I tell my students, which is it's okay to be yourself.
I love that. No one said that yet.
Yeah, it is okay to be yourself. It is okay to love yourself. It is okay to be a complex individual. You don't have to settle for what the status quo is. Like, being normal is boring.
Yes.
So boring.
Yeah.
But society tells us that that's not the right direction to go in. You have to be in this box.
Yeah.
But creatives, we live outside of the box.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't understand that. So I will definitely tell him that it is okay to be yourself, live outside of the box, and just have confidence to just do what you want to do, what you're passionate about. And and this is something I tell myself, no matter where life takes you, always try to find that passion. Always try to stay focused on what your passion is. I always say you can always find music in the noise.
Ooh, I like
At the end of Mr. Pete's Playout. People don't get it when I say remember to always find music in the noise.
I didn't get it.
For me, when I started saying that was when I was deployed. There was all this noise going around me, all this craziness.
I love you
happening.
so much right now. because you found that on deployment?
Yes, I started saying that on deployment. I'm finding music in the noise right now. I have not.
Okay, so when I deployed, I made a vow to myself that I wouldn't dance for 9 to 12 months because I needed to focus on my soldiers and on my job. And if I was focused on finding music or something else, I wouldn't be there. So I would play music in my striker with my team. We would do like R&B Wednesdays, but I wouldn't dance because that was the time I should be sleeping time I should be studying, time I should be.
Did you want them to know that you were a dancer?
They knew I was a dancer.
Oh, okay.
I don't hide that stuff.
Okay.
But I told myself I wouldn't go find dance in it. But it was my birthday, and God blessed me, and He found me He helped me find an empty tent.
Oh.
I'll show you this video later too. And I got to freestyle in that tent with my headphones on for like 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
But I came up with this phrase hit me, and it says, "Music is everywhere."
Yeah.
So dance anywhere.
Oh, I love
so
that.
The fact that you're saying, which is what?
Always find music in the noise.
I love that.
Yes. But it also is not specific to music only. It's to life.
Whatever you're passionate about, whatever gets you going.
Yeah, but also whatever negativity is going on around you.
What do you mean by that?
So, let me see. How do I explain it? For me, at the time when I first started saying that, we were getting there were reports of soldiers getting kidnapped on base a lot. And I used to, again by myself, I used to walk back and forth to my CHU by myself. I didn't have anybody to walk me home.
Buddy?
I didn't have a buddy.
I'm so mad at your leadership right now. Give me your commander's name. I'm gonna call him. Like, what were you doing?
I'm sorry. I was by myself in my office.
It's not your fault.
Everybody else was officers, so I didn't have a buddy. So I would walk back and forth by myself. But anyway, so I'm just using this as an example. You could be battling with something, or something in your life is not going the way you want to, or you're in a deployment environment in life and it's just negative. You have to stay focused and find that positive light in order to keep going forward. So that's what the noise is all the negativity that's going on. The music is the beautifulness that keeps you going.
I love that.
So that's what find music in the noise.
I love that
means.
So much. Thank you for sharing and explaining that.
Yeah.
I think that the lever stuff and explaining that, I think he's gonna get so much out of that.
Right. Because a lot of, and I've always been this way as well. A lot of people think that, and I guess it's my fault, a lot of people think that my life has always been great. Like I've always been this bubbly person, aside from those years when they didn't know me because I was disappeared in a room. Yeah. But even then, like that was my way to combat negativity, was to disappear.
Okay, yeah.
So a lot of people only see this positive, bubbly persona, but it's because I try my hardest to either suppress negativity or find my way around the negativity and stay focused on the positive, or I don't share it at all, because I feel like if I'm sharing it on Facebook or social media or all that stuff, then it's just going to stay there and I'm going to revert back to it, or I'm going to see it, or people are going to keep commenting on it, and I'm just going to relive it. So I don't ever really share negativity that happens to me. And when it does happen to me, I always try to minimize it or push it in the back here somewhere.
Yeah.
Suppress it as much as possible. But the downside to that is that when I go to therapy, it comes out.
But that's why we go to therapy. That's what it's there for.
Yeah, and then it's just a ball of emotion. But anyway, so.
But it's important people see the dynamic.
Yeah.
There's both sides.
There's both sides.
Right.
And I think I'm becoming more, and because of Mr. Pete is allowing me to become more open and to express myself more.
I don't think he's even a character, because I just see you.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know, or like a side of you, like, you know. But it sounds like you're very self-aware of what's going on, and I don't know if that's helping you process things in the moment or when you get to therapy or whatever it is. But it's exciting to see.
Well, I think it's because I am not talking to myself. I'm teaching somebody else, or I'm trying to teach somebody else. That's where I say the Mr. Pete persona, because he's a teacher.
Okay. Yeah, I like that a lot.
He's a teacher, so I'm using the like what I do in my classroom. I'm using the teaching mechanism to help me cope, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, if there's positive stuff that comes out of it,
yeah,
why not?
Yeah, I guess.
And then the last question is, I want to keep having great conversations like this with different people.
Yes.
So who would you suggest I reach out to, whether you know them or not, someone that you think has something to offer, words of nuggets or wisdom nuggets, words of wisdom, to my son, or who's helped you kind of get to where you are, maybe even.
Many people.
Give me one, just one.
Many people.
It may or may not happen, but I think just
to share words
saying
of wisdom and encouragement. We gotta edit this.
Oh no!
If I could, I mean, we gotta edit this part.
Okay.
You probably won't. You probably don't want to answer. But somebody asked me, and you know what? No, don't edit it.
I won't edit it.
I want to be transparent.
Okay.
Somebody asked me. We had a theater teacher training like 3 weeks ago or so.
Okay.
And they asked me, who was the person that you look up to or influence you the most?
Okay, similar question.
And I didn't have an answer.
Really? Is that because you felt so secluded for so long? You looked inside?
I never really had to think about it. So I think so.
Interesting.
I honestly, there has not been one specific person. There have always been people in different parts or times in my life that helped me get through that moment.
Yeah.
But it's always been for different reasons. But I don't.
That's okay.
I don't have. I can honestly say, and this is sad, but 3 weeks ago when I had that question, I had to think back and I answered truthfully, and I'm going to answer truthfully to you. And I literally said in the group session, I can honestly say I have never really had one person that I looked up to and aspired to be based on the way they have lived their life and say, okay, I want to emulate that. I want to be like that. Yeah. I've never, I don't think okay, I've had that.
I'm okay with
Is it okay?
Yeah, because I think that's when, and I know we're going a little off topic, but I think it's relevant. I think when when people start, because that gets into the realm of idolizing somebody, right? But the problem with that is they're human. So good examples like Kanye, right? Some people can't separate the music from the person.
Yeah.
Right? So when he starts saying some wild stuff, they're like, well, I can't listen to his music anymore. To me, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Because I'm like, but if you just listen to the music alone, it's special.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, take it for what you want. So to me, that's the same thing as not putting too much on that person in their life.
Yeah.
And just who's impacting. So I think you named a couple already, and I'm gonna give you homework, teacher.
Okay.
It takes some time and figure out. And the reason why I ask this question is one, so that we can keep the conversations going. But then two, to give back to you a moment to give thanks, gratitude to certain people. So you've already mentioned some people already.
Yeah, there's definitely been people in like I said, in different parts.
That's good.
Times in my life. Mother, Miss Nisi.
Good, yeah.
The NCO, Sergeant Warrant Officer Harvey, I told you about. Timothy Graffin-Reed, who is a Broadway composer. He literally was the one that got me started performing.
That's amazing.
Because he came down to St. Croix and he wrote an original musical with Lillias White, Tony Award winner.
Yeah.
And did a show with them.
Yeah.
And he has been, I guess he would be
somebody that's impacted you.
Yeah, he has had the most impact. Yeah. So yes, they'll say Mr. Timothy Graffin-Reed has had the most impact on my life, the most influence on my life. He has been my mentor since high school, since 14 years old.
That's powerful.
And he has been there guiding me in every decision that I have made.
Yeah.
Since 14 years old, musically, but just in life in general. He recently passed away since COVID started. Thank you. He passed away a few months ago. So, yeah. But he would.
I'm glad you guys had to thank him then.
Yeah. So the last time I physically saw him was last December. I went to see Once on This Island on Broadway. and I stopped by his apartment, and we spoke for like 4 or 5 hours. And we had plans of collaborating with the theater company and doing shows together. And he's written so much music and so much shows and plays and music. He's written and done so much over a span of. He wrote the music for The Wiz on Broadway. He was the original composer.
It's so crazy to me when people write or produce or create that much, because younger me, very fresh dancer at the time, would have said, I'm worried I might run out of creativity. Yeah. Right? And so, but now I think I get it. I think I see more as a muscle.
It is.
And you use it more, it'll give you more.
Yes. Yes.
Is that how it works?
That is absolutely 100% how it works. Learning. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I worry about that too. Even with Mr. P's Playhouse, I feel like I run out of topics to talk about. Excuse me. But I don't. Like, every week there's something. And even aside from Mr. P's Playhouse, just in general, I've done so much. Like, the last interview I did like 2 weeks ago, one of the comments was, he's done as much as a 65-year-old.
I hear that a lot.
And I'm like, because I said I was only 30. How old am I? 31. Okay, yeah, that's how old I am. I keep forgetting.
After 30 doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't say that.
You matter. The age doesn't matter.
But when he said that, I was like, oh, wow. So, and the reason why I've done so much, I feel like, is because I never get tired of wanting to create, wanting to perform.
Yes.
And when I am not in this element for too long, when I am not in it, something is missing. And I have to find, I have to create, I have to do something. And so that's why Mr. St. Croix happened, and after that, Military Idol happened, and then Soldier Show happened, and it was just back to back, because I feel like I get complacent and I gotta find something else.
Yeah, but I think you also, when you're that creative and you kind of manifest some of those things, and it's like, you're gonna go find those opportunities, right? Yeah. Because I didn't know about those shows.
Yeah,
I don't know how you found out about those shows, but you obviously were singing, or you let your NCOs know that that's something that you did, and they were able to find those things.
Yeah.
But if you hadn't shared that at all, then that would have never.
That's another find music in the noise. Like, you could be in a position that you're not being creative or not doing what you want to do, but you got to find it. I worked, when I had first came to Houston, I was in the reserves, and I got a job with the city of Houston, the fire department.
Okay.
And I was supposed to be a HR generalist person, but I was answering phones at the front desk because I was just a filler, I guess. And I would literally sit there, and I was a receptionist.
Waiting for
people to come in. Sometimes people wouldn't come in for hours. I'll be watching Wendy Williams every morning and The View. And I just didn't want to be there anymore. Something was just, again, I didn't feel like I fit in there.
Yes. Yeah.
So I remember I used to go downstairs for lunch. I used to eat at the YMCA downstairs, outdoors. Yeah. And I would just sit and I would watch. And I would watch people, and I would watch them, and I would watch the birds.
Okay.
And I'm going to make a connection, because I just made a connection in my head and in my heart, and I want to cry right now.
Please do.
I would watch the birds, and I would watch the birds fly away freely. And I would watch them come back, and they would eat their bread or whatever, but then they would fly away freely.
Okay.
And those were the same birds that I used to watch in Iraq. I would go up to the top floor and I would sit on the ledge.
I know those birds.
And I felt trapped in Iraq But when I went out there and I have a picture actually of me sitting on the ledge on
Will you
Facebook.
share with me later?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I would sit and I would watch the birds fly away. And I would sit and I would be like, those birds are living their dreams. They get to come and go and do what they want. And they're living their passion by just eating the bread and flying away. I need to be able to be as free as that bird. That was the decision. That moment on deployment was when I decided to get off active duty. I was coming up on re-enlistment, and actually I needed to re-enlist, and I was struggling with, do I stay in or do I leave? Do I stay in because there was opportunities with Army Entertainment, but I also felt limited there too because I was still a soldier.
I know.
So anyway, I in that moment, well, those moments of seeing the birds was when I made my decision that I was getting out the military.
Yeah.
Getting off active duty. Joined the reserves, but I came back to HFD Fire Department and I was stuck again. But not those birds, but birds was what reminded me of why I got out
That's amazing.
of the military, why I got off active duty. You wanted to pursue your music and be free. And so I quit my job with the fire department and I enrolled back in school. And that's when I went for my performance degree.
That's amazing.
And the rest is history. But yeah.
No regrets.
No regrets.
I love it.
None whatsoever.
I'm so thankful for you right now.
Oh.
I am. I always